Section 24 of Christmas and Christmas Lore. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Recording by John Brandon. Christmas and Christmas Lore by Thomas G. Crippen. Section 24. Cradle rocking, the Posada, etc. In this connection, mention must be made of the curious custom of cradle rocking, Kindelwegen, which arose in Germany about the 14th century and long retained its popularity. The crib became a cradle that could be rocked at first by priests, who personated Joseph and Mary, while choir and people sang and danced around. Then the custom became domestic, but still a real act of devotion. Some very pretty German carols relate to this custom, with which the fine Old Latin carols, Quem Pastoris laudavere and Resonet in laudabis, were also associated. The practice died out very slowly. It survived at Tübingen as late as 1830, and to a still more recent time in out-of-the-way places in Tyrol. In Sicily, especially at Messina, at least down to the middle of last century, it was usual on several nights before Christmas to fire a large number of crackers as a midnight salute to the Madonna and her Sacred Mother. Then on Christmas night, that is, the night following First Vespers, the streets were thronged, and every house was lighted in honor of the procession of the Caro Bambino. This commenced at midnight and was formed by the clergy, municipal bodies, lines of military with music, church attendants, and etc., all singing and bearing torches, and followed by a tiny wax doll in the arms of a priest beneath a gorgeous canopy. Fireworks were let off in the streets, and few people went to bed before dawn. In some of the Spanish-American cities, especially in Mexico, there is a curious domestic custom called the Posada, that is, the inn, based on a tradition that Joseph and Mary had a 9 days' journey from Nazareth to Bethlehem. For the due observance of this custom, several neighboring families, preferably kinsfolk, unite, and on each of the 9 evenings from 16th to 24th December, they gather in one selected house, the ladies taking in turn to act as hostess and give a present of some kind, however small, to each one of the company. The evening is usually spent in merrymaking, dancing, and a romp with the children. But on one evening of the 9, observance becomes distinctly religious. The attendance of a priest is secured. A temporary altar is fitted up in the principal room, and under it is fitted the Principio and its appropriate figures. As midnight approaches, the priest reads certain prescribed prayers, while incense is burned, and the company kneel in couples, each holding a candle. A procession is then formed, the images of Joseph and Mary being carried in front, and the whole company enter every room in the house, above and below, singing a litany. As the litany ends, 2 or 3 persons slip into a room and shut the door. The rest sing a carol, in which Joseph begs admittance for himself and his wife, who can go no farther. To this request a refusal is given, and the procession goes on until, on the stroke of midnight, the hostess leads to a room or attic, or perhaps to the flat roof, where the representation of a stable has been prepared. There the images of Joseph and Mary are placed with all possible reverence, and the ceremony ends. Formerly the procession took place early on each of the 9 evenings, but it came to be thought irreverent that a religious service should be sandwiched between games and dances, so now it is held on one evening only, and shortly before midnight. This seems the most convenient place in which to describe a curious old print in the collection of the Society of Antiquaries, broadside 305. It was printed in 1701 by J. Bradford in Little Britain, and sold for a penny. It measures 10 inches by 8.5 inches. It represents the Virgin with the Child in the manger, Joseph standing by. There are 4 shepherds, 2 adoring, 1 with a basket, and 1 with a bagpipe. 3 angels are kneeling, and several are hovering above. There are sundry beasts and birds around, whose supposed utterances are indicated by Latin labels in their mouths. The cock crows, Christus natus est, that is, Christ is born. The raven croaks, quando, when. The crow caws, hoc nocte, this night. The ox lows, ubi, where. The sheep bleats, Bethlehem. And the angels sing, Gloria in excelsis. In the border are the instruments of the Passion. A similar idea is embodied in a quaint little French poem, Macaronic, which tells that of old the animals spoke better Latin than French, and after the conversation above reported, adds that the ass brays, Aemus, let us go, and the calf replies, Volo, I am willing. End of section 24. Recording by John Brandon.